All right, Parshas Mishpatim. The first thing to note is that it's so anticlimactic, seemingly, after Matan Torah, to go into Dinei Mominis. Right? You think that, right after Parshas Yisro, you go into Truma Tetzaveh, start going into Melechas HaMishkan, because God came down with the Torah, and now He dwells amongst us as a result of the Torah. But the Torah takes a break and goes Dinei Mominis. Right? Halo Doverhu. Something that really needs to be explained. The whole Smichas HaParshas. Right? Asher Tosim Lifneim, says Rashi. Amala Kodesh Baruch Hu L'Moshe. Lo talo dait kol mar Yisrael Perak V'alacha Beis Gimel Pam Asher Subafim Kamishnata. V'eni Matzachatzi Lavim Tamedor Pirusho. All right, the Kodesh was by saying Asher Tosim Lifneim. So it's from the next pshat in Rashi, the halachic pshat, that not going to Arakos, you have to go to Bezdin. Asher Tosim Lifneim. It's a terrible thing not to go to Bezdin. It was like a court. Terrible thing not to have a Bezdin. Right? But Asher Tosim Lifneim, first Al Derech HaDrush, Rashi first takes it. What's that Asher Tosim Lifneim? Don't think that when I teach them Torah, I give over what I heard me Piak I'll just tell them 2-3 times till they could repeat it. Baal Peh, Mishnasa. No, that's not enough. That's not good enough. Right? But I'm not going to be machich myself to make them understand the Tamei Adavar and the Pirusho. Lekach Ne'emar, so therefore the pasuk says, Asher Tosim Lifneim, that you place before them. Keshulchan aruch umuchan lechol fnei adam, like a table that's set and ready to eat before a person. Right? That's a very strange metaphor. Right? So Asher Tosim Lifneim, put it before them, is that they have to have it clear, really clear. All right. So what's the mashal for clarity? Keshulchan aruch muchan lechol, like a set table ready to eat.
That's why the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah, like I would say, like the sun on a clear day or whatever. That
comes from this Rashi and this Medrash that we call it Shulchan Aruch. How do we call it Shulchan Aruch?
I'd assume that, yeah. I'd always assume that. But
that comes from this
right. But what's this? It's a very strange metaphor. To understand it is called like a set table ready to eat. It's a strange. The metaphor is a little bit strange. All right, and we want to discuss that. All right, and then another thing is that when we come to the end of the parsha, right, we have a whole other account of Matan Torah. And if not for Rashi pointing out that this is talking about Matan Torah, you would think it was a whole different event, because it's described so much more laid back than as the event is described in last week's parsha in Parshas Yisro. Last week's parsha was the koilos and the brakim, vayaram, vayanu, vayamdu merachok, and over here like it's a party. Vayechasu salkim, vayachlu vayishtu. They look at God and they're eating and they're drinking. Right. Right. So it's the.
Mind closing the door? Mind closing the door?
Right. So Rashi tells us from Chazal that it's another account of Matan Torah that looks totally different. They're more laid back. They're eating and drinking, right? There's no vayamdu merachok, right? And not only that, what's even more interesting, everyone knows, how much Chazal darshan Am Yisrael's magdim naseh l'nishma. Kosher dir Hashem naseh, they said naseh before nishma, like the malachim. Where's that pasuk? Kosher dir Hashem naseh l'nishma. Where is it?
That's in the second one.
That's right. Right, the famous Na'aseh v'nishma is not in Parshas Yisro. Famous Na'aseh v'nishma is in this week's parsha, right? In the second account of Matan Torah.
They told you have to put it in like a Shulchan Aruch, so they set the table when they started to eat.
Yeah.
They figured,
Well, you're not far off from
Tzvi. It was a metaphor.
Yeah.
Very literal.
Well, like Rashi Taka learns that there was a time that they were literally eating and drinking. Rashi Taka learns that way. But Yeah, but the famous pasuk of Akosher Dibar Hashem Naaseh v'Nishma is in this week's parsha. It's not in Parshas Yisro. In Parshas Yisro we have Akosher Dibar Hashem Naaseh that they said 2 days earlier. They first said Akosher Dibar Hashem Naaseh, then Moshe returned it, and on Erev Shavuos, which that's the account of this week's parsha. The whole story of Erev Shavuos is in Parshas Mishpatim with the Sefer Bris, and he made with the Chatzi Adam, B'Mizbech, Chatzi Adam Ba'aganos, V'Yishchos Nar Yisrael. The whole ritual that happened on Erev Shavuos, there they said Kosher Divrei Hashem Naaseh v'Nishma. That belongs to the Parshas Mishpatim Dika account of Matan Torah. Right, so we have to understand that. The famous Naaseh v'Nishma belongs to this other version of Matan Torah. Right. All right. So, to try to understand this a little bit, all these inyanim, right? A very interesting phenomenon about Dinei Mominus, right? Which is the bulk of Parshas Mishpatim. What's called Mishpatim, which is all the Dinei Mominus, civil law, that if not, even if the Torah would have not commanded us, we would have legislated it ourselves. Right? There's a certain amkus, right, to the whole mahus, right, the whole mahus of Dinei Mominus. The very fact that as opposed to America, there's separation of church and state, right? That you would have thought, Haya'ola al Adas, that's the better way to govern, religion l'chud, right, and civil law l'chud, right. You might have thought that civil law will take care of ourselves, right. What is even the raw and basic significance, right, of the fact that there is such a thing as Dinei Mominus, that the Torah itself didn't leave civility up to Adam to decide for himself. All right? So now...
Especially since we have a concept of hefkedness and hefkedness, which undoes almost everything else.
All right? So what's Pshat now? All right, so now one could argue on a simplistic level, and this, some of the Rishonim say this, that, if you leave civil law up to Bnei Adam to legislate themselves, so even though Chazal say about Mishpatim, that even if they would not have been Nitztave, we would have legislated them ourselves, but it doesn't mean we would have come to the exact same conclusion, right? And it could be that the psak won't be absolute truth. It'll be approximate because, what seems fair. So maybe you could get the general kivun, the general direction of what's fair, but to get it down exact, right? Like what we have in this week's parsha, the Arba Avos Nezikin. Would you really, al pi seichel, you would pater kalim in a bor, you would pater tamun be'esh, all these things that the Arba Avos Nezikin, they have their loopholes. You would have never thought of that yourself. Right? That you still need the Torah to give it to you down to the nano detail, so you could be sure that when you're mechayev someone, it's a din emes, right? Right? We could say that, and that's true. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that kol ma'aseinu should be emes, emes lamito, and only God knows all the details, and only God could, give you a law that you could be assured is emes always, all the time. Right? You could say that.
We tamper a whole lot with it.
Okay. I mean, hopefully within the guidelines that the Torah meant for us to do it. But and that's true. But it goes a lot deeper than that. It's not just stam that the Torah gave us mishpatim, right? To make sure that the civil law will be emes and no one will be ripped off. Because maybe if we leave it up to our own, we'll only get it approximately, right? And now it's meduyak, down to the nano detail. It goes a lot deeper than that, right? It's a difference in our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Because the way it is with the other religions, within a separation of church and state. So it's kipshuta, separation. You're with God only on weekends. When you go to the house of worship.
There's nothing in the Constitution that uses the word separation of church and state. By the way, that word does not exist.
It's a myth?
No, it was
That was
founded.
Jefferson's.
It was founded totally
expression.
separate. It was founded separate from religion. It was founded purely upon state. It had nothing to do with religion. That's what they say.
No, but it's in the
It's
Constitution.
not. But it's not a Catholic document. It's not a religious
But
document.
it doesn't use the word separation of church and state.
They don't
It
need
only
to.
says that the Congress shall establish no religion.
You're
And
right.
It says
They don't
Congress
need
shall
to
make no
separate it.
law.
It's separate by itself.
Congress shall make no law establishing a religion and to prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything about separation of church and state. The word separation of church and state appears in a document by Jefferson when he's
Right.
just discussing the ideas, and it was purposely not used not to separate. It's only the Supreme Court that's been using it.
Okay, and there you go.
Supreme Court has been using the term separation of church and state. It's not even, wasn't even originally thought of
Right.
as a separation of church and state.
That's what I'm saying. It had nothing to do with religion.
It's just that the state cannot establish any particular religion,
It's
and
more-
it can prevent you.
It's passive.
But this whole idea, but in the public marketplace, you can't exhibit religion, all that's contrary, it's really contrary to the original intent, which is that you should have the absolute ability to do it.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for pointing out that at least the founding fathers, had it more straight than they have it today. No, but this is the point, right? That there's a separation of church and state is that Rebbe Shalom is only your king on weekends, right? Your Shaykhus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu it's only partial and not absolute and all encompassing. Not absolute and all encompassing.
Do other religions have mamonos in their laws?
So I can't
No,
tell you.
They don't even have religion in their laws. There's nothing. Tell me what
I know Christianity does
what
not
is
have mamonos.
Christianity?
Right,
They
yeah,
have
They don't have
no
mamonos.
They have no laws.
They talk about chesed, but Islam,
But
Islam
an eye
has
for eye is
mamonos.
literal. Eye for an eye is literal.
Only what they copied off us.
Yeah, okay.
They have Sharia law, what they call Sharia law, which is
Yeah.
you chop off heads, you chop off hands.
Right.
That's all I know about
They do
Sharia
hand for
law.
hand,
You
right?
stone people.
Huh.
Yeah, but they took it literally from the Bible.
Yeah. Okay. Now, many religions don't have a civil law.
Okay.
Right? So it's not. And the Torah wasn't that way. The Torah looked at all our inyonim, our social and political, and gave us programming for everything. Right? And why? That we should be kosher to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in absolutely everything that we do. Right? And as a davar nifla mode, this comes even before Melechas HaMishkan. Right? Haya ole ala das, chas v'shalom, that since the Shechina is confined, there's a machlokas rishonim, there would have been a Mishkan, if not for Cheda Egel or not. But Echshelo, let's say, Gora Machet, or say even though Gora Machet, and now the Shechina is in a cordoned off area, right? And that's like the one place where there's holy space in the Mishkan, right? And there's a Shechina is Nizgala there, not out of there. Hayol das, right? That so the Shechina, right? Our connection to the Shechina is partial and limited, right? And we, by and large, live outside of the Shechina. We live in Machane Yisro, not Machane Shechina, right? You're not living with God. Comes the lesson, right, of Mishpatim immediately after Matan Torah. No. When HaKadosh gave Torah, and Torah came down, and Torah was chal on you. It means you live with God all the time. You live with God all the time, right? And you're kosher to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything that you do. And the fact that the Shechina is only Nizgala within a Mishkan, that is, don't take out from that's the only place where the Shechina is. And if you're not in the Beis HaMikdash, you're not in the Mishkan, you're not with God. No. You're with God, right? Wherever you are and whatever you do. even in your business, even everything in your most earthly pursuits and your civil, you're doing the same stuff that Umas Olam do, business and contracts, and except by us, the Rebbe Shalom is with us even in that. Even in our pragmatic things that we have seemingly the same as the Umas Olam, commerce and monetary law and everything else, all our civil endeavors, right? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us, and that's nifla ma'od, right? One of the ikar mekayros of not teaching a guy Torah from the pasuk Mishpatim bal yidom. They don't have mishpatim. Don't teach them the mishpatim. It's godless, right? That part of becoming the chosen people is we're not partially chosen. We're absolutely chosen. We're with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu and different from the Goyim in everything. Now let's flash back to a Rashi, way in Parshas Vayera. Vayera elav Hashem. Vu yoshev pesachol k'chomayom. Yoshav ksiv, bikesh lamod. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, shave. Vani omed, and it's a siman lebanecha for the dayonim. They sit bedin vani omed b'fnei. Shnemar okim nitzav bad askel. It's nifla mode. Now you ask why there? He's recovering from bris milah, right? And there's a remez to the dayonim, and that the Shekhinah is there. So even though Shekhinah is not revealed the same way it is in the Mishkan, but the Shekhinah is there. When the dayonim say dinei momedes, and you conduct your civil affairs al pi din Torah, the Shekhinah is there. Right? He's standing amongst the dayanim, right? And that was nizgala that was the first gilui after bris milah, right? After Vayer Lav Hashem, because kayadua the of bris milah is that God is even in our flesh, right? We're not just kosher HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our mind, even in our flesh. We have an ois in our flesh that we belong to God. We're branded and connected, right? And that's the famous other Gemara. Dar Melch was in the merchatz. He can't do mitzvahs. He was orum min mitzvahs. Felt nizkar b'mila. That's the end of bris milah. You're always connected, and that's the end of mishpatim. You're always connected to God. Right? You're always connected. But kol ma'aseinu, but kol inyanenu. So that's why by the gili of bris milah, that even the guf of an adam shalom midaito is kosher HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So over there's a remez to the mishpatim, right? That the mishpatim makes it that we're kosher HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything that we do, but it goes one step deeper than that, right? There's a definite mode to understand, something that we can observe, right, in the lumdus of dinei momedes, that we know kaiduat nezikin, that's where the action is. Baba kama, baba mitzia, baba basra. It's all the geshmak lumdus, all the chakiras. There's a lot of svara there, a lot of svara, more than all the other dinim of the Torah, in lulav, or there's not much room for svara, because it's a ritual. It's got its halachas, and the same thing basically in all the other areas of Torah. There's no other area of Torah which svara plays such a strong role. Matter of fact, the whole Baba Basra is kimat all kol kulo svara. Very little learned out of psukim over there. Very little, very little. Right, right. So right. So you have to like take a look. Torah's coming down from heaven to earth. Where did it stop? Right? Now, if the Torah would have only spoken about, kodshim, taras, and whatever, moed, rituals and avodah, right? That means that Torah would have not fully have come down, right? So Torah would have stopped here at the head. That when we think holy thoughts, that's when we're connected. It means that as our Torah coming down from Shemaim, it stopped at head level, or at the tip of your head, right? In fact, the Torah came down and it was mitzvah on dinei momedes, so mamash civil affairs, even what to do with your shor, like this week's paragraph, what to do with the shor muad. That means that the Torah came down even further, right, to permeate, right, everything that we do. It means it just shows though kocha ad kama the Torah was yored from Shemaim to Oretz, that it was mamish yored to all inyone artzius. You know what that means? Also klape the human being, right? That means since the Torah was yored to such an extent that it even came down to address, right, our most mundane aspects of life, that means that the Torah became more accessible. It came down to a lower place, right? Right, and that's the gift why we can understand Torah. Torah should just be kol kulo chukim. It's a ritual. Why does it work? I don't know. Right? It's a mitzvah. Why does it work? I don't know. Right? The fact that we're soiver svara. We could feel the my timer. Mipnei mamra Torah. My timer. Tamei adover. We'll get back to that in a second. Tamei adover. You know what that comes from? Like Haya Ola al Das, that we should just obey Torah, but not understand Kihu Zeh of it. Because it's from Shemayim. It's Mipia Gevura, who's infinite. The Malachim want the Torah for themselves. It means it comes from a higher place than the Olam HaMalachim. So Haya Mistaber, that Torah should just be dictates that we don't understand. But we understand it. Because Torah Mamish came all the way down. It was mispashet. It extended itself Mamish onto the field of where human intelligence reaches. So the fact that it was yored all the way down to Dinei Mominus also produces a function that's why we have a strong tfisa in Torah. We could daher. And Dinei Mominus is dafka, the place where we daher the most. Because it mamish came down to our inyanim, and coming down to that extent put it on par with where our mind reaches, right? And that's why so both in klali we have the ability to be soiver svara in all inyane Torah, right? But more so in dinei mominus than all the other areas, and because the dinei mominus is that the Torah came down to talk about Inyonei Ha'adam, since it was nispashet to the realm called Inyonei Adam. That's why Adam has a tfisa in it. And our ikar tfisa is mikoch the dinei mominus. And that's what the Gemara says. Harotze lachkim yasok b'dinei mominus. Right? You want to be wise? Start with dinei mominus. Right? So, want to be wise. So now, it means that it's the petach to all wisdom. And maybe it's not a coincidence that originally Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Bas were all one big Masechta called Maseches Nezikin. And it got divided up. First, middle, end. Kama, Metzia, Basra. But what's the word Baba? Gate. It's a gateway. Through Dinei Mominus, that's a gateway to climb into Chochmas HaTorah. It was Yored Ad Ledasa Adam by being the Slavish Dinei Mominus.
What does Baba Maisa mean?
Right.
It doesn't mean Baba Maisa, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It's not grandmother Maisa. Baba Maisa is rooted in a whole different word. It's not even a Hebrew word, Baba. Baba is some sort of a Russian word or something.
Really?
Yeah, I once heard a discussion from a linguist.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, because in Ivrit they translate literally Sipurei Savta.
Yeah, because everybody thinks that's what Baba means, but it's not.
That's
It's also Baba Maisa at all.
Well, that's very interesting. All right, but
Well, you don't have to believe me though, but everybody, nobody will believe you if you tell them. But I'm telling you, I heard it from a Yiddishist.
Yiddish. Wow.
Mhm. There was a word, and it had to do with storytelling.
Like a liar or whatever.
Storytelling, exaggeration, storytelling, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, amazing. Anyway, but I'll go put it. It is the Harotza Lachkim. So already the Chassam Sofer says in the name of his Rebbe, the Haflah, right? Lachkim, right? What's Chochmah? So the Gemara says in Shabbos, they darshan on the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Emunas Roim, Itecha Mayed, right? Chaysen Nashim, Yeshua's Nezikin, Chochmah is Kachim. Kachim already is very, very abstract. Karbonis with that, and then, also in Yoni Kedusha, you're not dealing with anything earthy, like Bishlam Azroim, okay, agriculture, right, Moed, right, rituals, not hard, right. Kachim already gets very abstract, Kedusha. Kedusha is a non-tangible thing. Chalois Kedusha, right? The whole in Yoni Kachim, right? Harotze Lachkim says the Chasam Sofer, name of the Haflah. You want to be able to chap Kachim, Yasuk b'dinei mamas. Dinei mamas is the shar to get in. That's the portal, because that's where Torah meets human intelligence. Is in dinei mamas, and you could grab onto that, and that could be the portal to climb weiter in Chachmas Satar Lachkim to understand Kachim. Through the dinei mamas, you could use it as a stepping stone. That's the bridge between Torah and human intelligence. That the Torah was yored ad lemadregas chachmas ha'adam, even though it's Torah, not chachmas ha'adam, but it went down to a parallel level, and that way you could grab on, and it could be the gateway that from that achiza that we have through the dinei mamas, you could climb to the chachmas ha'Torah. The Gemara says, "Hamaskilim yaziu kisar rakia." And Kaido, that pasuk is the opening pasuk of the Zohar. Hamaskilim yaskilu yazhiru kazar rakia. That's why it's called Sefer HaZohar, because it opens with that pasuk, one part. That's all talking about those who are Isaac inside, and it's really hainu hach. Our koach daher side, the stepping stone is dinei mamonis. So it's not just that the Torah came to be makif all in Yonenu, that we should be mukaf with Ratz Hashem, everything that we do. By coming down to be makif kol Yonenu, that gave us a base achiza on the Torah, that from that base achiza, from that handle, that handle is the beginning and our portal to enter, and mikoch that we can even climb in daher side. But if it wouldn't have been yored to the madrig of dinei mamonis, aside the fact that our relationship with God would be partial, but it would be a chisor in the hispashtus of the Torah of not extended fully towards us, we wouldn't be able to grasp it, in its pneumius.
I think there's another reason why we understand dinei mamonis is because it's all practical stuff. That man has the capacity even to develop its own legislation. These are things that we understand ownership, we understand. Maybe it comes to source to Torah. I don't know. Maybe.
No, I'm just saying. No. The fact that Torah was nislabish.
For example, there are many cultures that didn't understand if there was anything as property ownership. There was no property ownership. Indians were nomads. Land belonged to everybody, and you moved from place to place. There was no husbandry among the Indians. They were hunters. They lived like very primitive men. They didn't have such concepts. We do have those concepts, but civilized society already developed those concepts, didn't they? Parallel to us, concept of land and deeds and theft and all those things we could understand because we live with that. Right. We live with even non-Torah concepts, similar non-Torah concepts. So you call it a Beis Achiza. I don't know if it's a Beis Achiza because they gave it to us as Beis Achiza because it's something that we live with.
I'm saying but it means that the Torah came down to that level that's on par with us, and that caused a certain congruence, which we could use to grab on. And once you grab on, you could climb, use it as a stepping stone to climb to the other Inyonei Torah of Kodshim, Taras, and Soid.
So, do we understand those areas, Kodshim, Taras, and Soid, better because?
Only because of Dinei Mominus.
If it was given just.
Only because of Dinei Mominus.
You wouldn't be able to understand those things. It was given to us. Why?
There would be dictates, Tom. Mm-hmm. Dictates. Right. So
you're saying the same principles apply?
I mean, we relate.
You think that you could carry out the tzivuim robotically without chopping and without understanding why and without getting any geschmack from it.
We relate more to the Torah because of Mamonis.
That's right.
It's
not just Mamonis itself, but it's also a stepping stone. Right? And that's why this is the most immediate thing after Matan Torah. Lo dia kocha de Matan Torah. Ad hechon advarim higiu. That when God gave the Torah, He really gave it. He gave it ad asof. The Torah was yored umispashet. L'kol inyonei Adam, and it makes a difference to the Adam also, right? That this is what makes the Adam be able to chap and appreciate Torah. Now, when you understand something,
So where in that service of difference would this be included in the signal? The signal is to nefesh.
Right.
There's nothing in the service of difference that even insert the din mamnas.
I mean, well, one could say that, lo sisa, and I mean, it's alluded to. I mean, all the Tarek mitzvahs are alluded to in the Aseret Sedibros, really. All the Rishonim agree that these Aseret
Like
Sedibros.
this, if it was Geneva, if it was property, I would say that includes all din mamnas, because din mamnas, that's what it's about. What belongs to you, what belongs to this. If you take something that doesn't belong to you, that would be Geneva. So that would be all of dinim mamnas, all of Choshen Mishpat would revolve around Geneva, right? Because you don't pass it that belongs to you.
Okay, no, it could be Al Derech HaDrush. It does, because we know Al Derech HaDrush, the Aseres HaDvarim allude to all Taryag mitzvahs. Right. But so this is the reason why we have Dinei Mamlis immediately after Matan Torah, to show the koach of Matan Torah. The Mamish gave the Torah. Mamish. Just like Haaretz Nasan Levnei Adam gave us the land, V'kivshua. So, like Haaretz Nasan Levnei Adam, that was also, they gave us Matan Torah. Mamish. Nasan Levnei Adam. Mamish. And it came down to the Artzius. And that's Mamish goes Nosan. We could Mamish chap it, right? What's the geschmack of understanding something? What would you liken that geschmack to?
Eating a good steak.
Yes.
Satisfying.
So let me explain to you why.
Well,
I'm not sure.
So let me explain to you why. Right?
Even better sometimes. Doesn't
'Cause-
gain any weight from it.
All right. To understand something is that you have it in your head. Right, it was external. You internalized it. So let's take a look at the five senses that we have, right? Which are seeing, hearing, smelling, right? Touch and taste. Right? By 4 out of 5 of the senses, there's still, the external remains external and the internal remains internal. Seeing. I see what's outside of me. I hear what's going on around me. I smell what's going on, right? All these things are measuring what's stimulus that's coming in from the outside. But the outside is on the outside. And this is like, readings that you're getting from the outside world. Even the sense of touch, right? So you make contact. But the thing that I'm feeling is on the outside. My fingers are on the inside. It's just where out meets in, but out stays out, and in stays in. Just out has met in. That's touch. So touch is even closer, right, than seeing, hearing, and smelling. But then there's taste. When do you taste something? When it's in you. You could try this. Try to taste something with your tongue by sticking your tongue out. But don't put your tongue back in your mouth. Touch your tongue without withdrawing it into your mouth to anything. Something salty, something sweet.
Give me a cookie, let's try.
Right. Yeah, go ahead. Right, experiment right here. You won't be able to taste it until you withdraw it to your mouth. You won't be able to taste it until you put it into your mouth
You need
again.
a good ice cream.
I do taste it, but it's not a ice geschmack.
You don't really
Give
taste
the
it.
Rebbe his cough, too.
You want to read?
What? No, you don't really. If you
Taste it. I do taste it.
don't put your tongue back in the
Yeah.
mouth.
Uh-huh.
Don't put.
I feel like I'm not tasting it.
You feel the texture. You're deceiving yourself. Your mind is filling in the blanks. That's I just bumped into the chocolate chip.
Even if you let it, right. Even if
I'm
you let
not
it
getting the
chocolate.
full flavor, but I'm
You
I
don't
can
really
tell you if it's
taste it.
salty or
Yeah,
sweet.
right. It's as if you're holding your nose.
It's like that's it. It's more like smelling. It's not taste until it's in your mouth. Yeah, you can use the tongue like a nose, as it were. Right? Right? The geschmack of taste is from internalizing it. That's the geschmack of taste, when it becomes one with you. That's the unique geschmack of internalization.
And swallowing it.
Right?
Let's go cook,
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Getting hooked on
It's
it.
the internalization. You don't really taste something until it's in the mouth. In the mouth. And that even the geschmack is not even finished until you swallow. Because things you taste in the beginning of the tongue, the taste buds are different throughout the tongue. It's the geschmack of internalizing.
Genius of creation.
Right? No, that's the geschmack of tam. Right? So when the Gemara asks, my timer. Right?
Very good.
My timer.
Very
Right? Lavinam tame hadavar. Keshuchan orach muchan lechol. Right? That, tam, to understand, to chap the tam is to internalize it. To internalize it. Yichap the omek hadavar. Yichap the omek hadavar, that this sichlius is now in your seichel. It's not external. It's this sichlius is in your seichel, and you feel and you appreciate. That's called tam. That's called that you attain the my timer. When the Gemara says, before it says my timer, it says the dibur, right? Just the statement, the dictate. Maybe you want to know, I want to appreciate it more. My timer, and that's the geschmack of internalizing. Right? And that's what it says. So going back to, and this is all said by Dinei Mominus, that by Asher Tasim with them, Dinei Mominus, right? The Dinei Mominus is the gili for a cloud for Kol Darkei Torah, that the Rebbe has to not just say the din, but also Lavinam Tame Adavar. But the Makor is by Dinei Mominus, because Dinei Mominus made it that way, because Dinei Mominus reflects that the phenomenon that the Torah was yored to the point that it's on par with the Asa Adam, and you could chop it. You could internalize it. You could. Right? So Asher Tosim Ifren, the Mish'ela Mishpatim, Asher, because there's Mishpatim, because the Torah was yored until the Darga of Seichel and Noishis, it extended itself up to there. So therefore Asher Tosim, it could be mamish, they could not just obey the dictates robotically, but they could be Lavinam Tam Adavar, they could have Tam in it. They understand the my timer. Keshulchan Aruch Muchan Lechol. They can mamish internalize the Torah. That the Torah Sakar Dinei Moses, that the Torah could be internalized within the Adam. Right? As Keshulchan Aruch Muchan Lechol. Right? Tamei Adavar. Right? That's a tremendous gil of Mishpatim. Right? So there's something else that's called a tam. Musical notes. The tamim, the trop, called the tamim. Right? So Nefesh HaChaim talks about this in Shar Beis. And he says, to explain, why the musical movements, there's like the nikud, to say the word, and then how you cantillate the word, right? That's called tamim. So Nefesh HaChaim says a beautiful word. Says, you knock on someone's door, right, at 3 a.m. I'm having coffee now, I'm out of milk. You have some milk. So now the guy is, he's shocked and appalled. You wake him up in the middle of the night, for a cup of milk. Right? But, he speaks the language of diplomacy. And he says, I want to tell you something. I am really glad that you came now. I was just waiting for someone. I couldn't even go to sleep. I was just waiting for someone to knock on my door and ask me for. Now that you knocked on my door and asked for that, now I could go to sleep. Get it? The guy comes back the next night and knocks on the door again. You said it was okay. You say you don't go to sleep until someone asks you for milk at 3 a.m.
My name is Fink, and what do you think? I sell shoes for nothing. I sell shirts for nothing. You know this.
Right? Like, what was the guy supposed to chop?
I'm not old enough to know this joke.
Right. What was the guy supposed to,
I'm too nice to tell you off.
No, but how are you supposed to understand that the guy doesn't really mean the literal, what he literally said? He literally said he was just waiting for me to come, and I'm just so glad you...
He exaggerated.
How are you supposed to chop that?
On the tone.
Tone. From the tam. He said it's bitterly, angrily, cynically. What's a person really thinking? If the guy says nice words, good to see you, right? Right? So yes, you have a stira. You have the tone versus the actual words said. Of course, he really means the tone, the seichel hanistar, the words nefesh. What he's really thinking, bomek halev, comes across in the tone. In the tone. And that's the pshat. That's also the omek of the ta'amim. The Torah has to be sung. And it's called a shira. Shira azos. Because Torah has seichel in its sichus. It's even above the words. Right? There's the amount of information that's conveyed by the words. But then there's additional information that's conveyed by the nuance. And which is the omek hamachshava. And that's why the musical movement is called ta'amim. It's from the madrega called my timer. There's the din, and then there's the my timer. What's the seichel behind the din? And that's also the relationship between dibur and koil. The dibur and the ta'amim. Right? Right? Is it ta'amei Torah? Ta'amei Torah. So the ta'amim that there are in the Sefer Torah are parallel to the idea of ta'amei Torah, that there's omek even above the words. The words are just like the chitzonius of it. There's like bepnimius, a lot more depth. Like what you're thinking really, really in your heart is nizgala through the tone of how you said what you're saying. More than the words. As I don't know if you're angry, if you're happy, being serious, being cynical, you hear that in the tone. Right? That's what lumdus really is. The lumdus that we is really listening for the tone of the words. That's what it means. The Rishon says something, and we're medayik, and we say, so he must hold like this side of the chakira. But he didn't say those words. No, he doesn't say those words. I hear it in the tone of how he said it. I hear it in the tone. That's what lumdus unlocks. The lumdus is a gilui of the koil of Torah, the tamei Torah. Right?
Is that always clear or it's misconstrued? Because a lot of times tone can be misinterpreted.
Yeah, I mean it's a
So
very
is that true when it comes to-
Kol Yaakov.
right, very good.
And
Kol,
Esav.
and it was Yaakov,
The
Right.
Kol was because he said it in a way that Yaakov would say it, not because the voice sounded like.
Yeah.
Because
So I'm saying
he
when
said,
it comes-
"Please,"
When it comes to the teachings of
he was
Torah,
respectful to
is
his
it clear?
father.
Is it, or there?
I mean,
or does
it
run
takes
into-
work. It takes a lot of work, but it's
There's only one answer, right? There's only one teaching. Is my question.
no, not necessarily. It's easy, but I'm saying there's either the koil, it's the omek hamachshava that's behind the dibur, and we try when we're medai to hear the koil that's between the words. Right. And right.
So
But-
smichas
but-
parshas included in this kol?
What?
Smichas parshas, is that included in
All the drushes.
I mean, that
All the
could-
drushes are unlocking the unobvious, the non-obvious, that you wouldn't see in the words themselves. Right? All the darkei drush.
It's called gloss. Gloss. Like the Constitution is the Constitution, and there's the gloss, judicial gloss.
Dicta?
The judicial gloss is how they interpret it. What they think it means, what they think it really meant to convey, that's the gloss. It's not in the words. It's in the flow,
right?
what they invent, what they're inventing. Once they invent it, it becomes part of the text. A right of privacy, for example. Where does that come from? There's no right of privacy. But they read it, and that's the judicial gloss. They read it in the, well, he's a lawyer.
That's
Judicial
good.
glosses.
Don't you wish you had him as a law professor? He probably explains it better.
Great mentor.
Yeah.
I don't need a professor. So this works.
Right. Yeah, it's very good. The gloss, right? We call it lumdus. The maitaima, that's the koil that's behind the dibur, right? Right. The omek hamachshava. So that's why also that's called tam, and we're going to get back to that in just a second. Kayadua, right? Right. Torah, you have to learn be'ema v'yer b'reses u'v'zeya, like the way it was given, because Am Yisrael was in fear at the time of Matan Torah. But of course, when you're in fear, right, you're not connected. You're just vayamdu merachok. They ran the other way. They were in fear. But on the one hand, you need to have the fear to give the Torah the proper awe and respect, because it's God's wisdom. And as much as you know of Torah, you still don't even chop like the smallest chelk of what it really is, because it's God's wisdom. So on the one hand, you got to treat the Torah with that type of seriousness. But on the other hand, Torah was mamish given to the point you could have geschmack in it and enjoy it. Eat it up. Right? And that we find in Lashon Chazal also, Arevim k'nesinasam. The Amora said a shear so sweet, like matan Torah. Sweet, wait, over there they were scared to death. It's both. Matan Torah has a duality to it, because Torah mitzad, its essence is something to be in awe of, to be awed and scared of. It's God's words, it's God's wisdom. It's from the Ein Sof, right? And you have to treat it that way. You have to have the cognizance that this is not stam law. This is not the stuff you learn in college. This is from Shamayim. Not just stam from Shamayim. It's from God himself. The angels would have wanted it for themselves. Right? So you have to have that relationship to Torah. Right? But you also have to have another relationship to Torah. It came down to me, and I can take it, and I can understand it, and I can enjoy it, and I can internalize it. No less than food. No less than food. And that's the side, that Olam Haba, which is all about the Gilui of Torah, and just enjoying that Ziv Hashchina, which is Giluyim, new Giluyim of Torah. It's called Suda. Hakom Sukan La Suda. Right? And now what's one of the Ramazim to Olam Haba is in this week's Parsha. Margla before Rav, Olam Haba Embo Lo Achila V'Lo Shtia, El Tzikim Yoshvim, V'Atosem Roshem, V'Nem Mishir, Shenemar, Vayechsu Es Elokim, Vayochlu Vayishtu. They see God and they eat and drink. So unfortunately explained, Ram has an entry on it in Mor Nevuchim, Ochal. You take in, they just take it in. They eat it up, man. They eat up that Ziv Hashchina. They internalize it and love it like a good food, a good day. That's why Olam Haba is called a Suda. We're just internalizing Torah. That's the whole geschmack of Olam Haba. Right? Matan Torah was both. In a way that we can't imagine, it was both experiences simultaneously. An experience of awe and fear, right? Connected the greatness of Torah, right? But it was also a feel of like Tanug, Arevim k'nesinasam, like eating a good steak, like, better than use it. Right? The geschmack of that Torah came down to me and could become one with me, right? There was that also. In a way that we just can't imagine. Both experiences happen simultaneously, but can't be written in the same parsha, because when you're describing one, you're not describing the other.
So we always talk about internalizing our learning. I always talk about it. Because I say you can learn and never internalize it. So it never changes you as a person.
Right.
When you internalize it, it's like, it changes you as a person.
Right. That's right.
You don't want to chazer food, though.
You have to eat it slowly.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what you eat on Sunday and Monday, right? Right. That's chazara.
Animals have several.
They chew their cud.
Right. Anyway, that's just what we eat on Sunday and Monday. It's chazara, right?
So the idea behind chazara is every time to refresh it. So it's like.
No, so this is an amazing thing, right? That as Parshas Yisro is the Bechina of Matan Torah of Ema Via Reses V'Zeya, connected the etzem of Torah, and you have to never forget the godless Torah, that it's Novlos Chochma Shel Mala. Never lose sight of that, and always therefore be in awe and fear, right? Otherwise, you're not properly appreciating what Torah really is. But then there's the other aspect that could be taught to us and made understood to us after we're taught Dinei Mamonis. I mean, the Torah could explain to us the other aspect after Dinei, that Heyos, the Torah Mamish, came down up to the level of Dinei Mamonis, to the point that Yarm has a base achizar. So now you could, this thing that's awesome and scary, you could enjoy and internalize and make Mamish part of you.
That's the nishma.
Oh, right. And that's Nishma. That's just between Nasa and Nishma. Nasa, I obey. I don't need to understand what I'm doing. I just got to obey. Just shut up and do what you're told. And then there's nishma, that I not just nishma is to hear it with the ears, but nishma to hear the koil hatayra, to hear the sound, the music, not just to hear the dictate. The tzivui is dibur, right? The dictate. But then there's hearing the music, the timing. And that's how you can have nishma after nasa, right? To just obey, you're only hearing the words. The nishma is on the koil. And I'll prove it to you from the pasuk that Chazal bring. Chazal say that a remes to Am Yisrael is like the Machan or Magdim Nasa Nishma is from the pasuk in Tehillim. Boch Hashem Malachav, Giborei Koach, Osei Dvaro, they do what he says, right? That's Nasa. Lishmoa Bekol Dvaro. The Shmi is on the koil of the Dvaro. You hear the music. You hear the music of the Torah. And that's a higher level. That comes even after being. That's a pasuk in the it's in one of the Baruch Nafshis in Sefer Tehillim. Right? It's in Tehillim. Pasuk in Tehillim. The Shmuah Bekoil Devar, the Nishma, and the Chazal Nasav and Nishma. They said but the Nishma is on the Koil, not just hearing the words. The words you heard already in order to obey. The Shmi is on the higher level. You hear the music. You hear like the tone, like the Omek HaMachshava that's belied, that's revealed through the tone. That's the Nishma. You hear the timing. And that's the side, by the way, what Chazal tell us, right? That that the Torah came down first as one koil, that broke up into 7 koilos, and then it broke up into the Shivim Lashonos. Torah is betzem koil; it's pure thought. Then it's nitztamtzim into dibur. But even when it's nitztamtzim into dibur, like we cut down sound to make words, but the Torah still kept its melody, even though it got cut down to words. It's b'mahus koil, pure thought, pure tam. And it just got nitztamtzim to dibur, but when it got nitztamtzim to dibur, it still has tamim. It never lost the music. But it says in Parshat of Chom, roim eskos, they see those sounds. So al pi darkenu, they see them, but they don't hear them. Because you're standing from afar. From afar, you don't hear. You're standing far away, you see it from afar. Ve'amnu merachok, roim esakolos. But in the aspect of Parshat Mishpatim, after we see the Mishpatim, and how the Torah was nislabesh in a level that's on par with Seichel Enoshis, which gives us a handle on Torah. A handle that we use to climb to all in Yonei Torah. So after Mishpatim, we could have a view the Torah in retrospect differently. That vayachsu esokim, vayochel vayishtu. Right? They're mamish eating and drinking. Eating and drinking conceptually. They were just taking in the shefa like food, because Torah mamish reached a level that was congruent for the kalim of the Adam to be makabel, which is the greatest, example of that is Dinei Mominus. That's where it reaches mamish in Yonei Adam, and that's why Svara has so much a role to play in Dinei Mominus. Right? And as a result, after this, we could have another view. The Torah could teach us about that aspect of Matan Torah, of like achilu and taking it in like food. Right? And in preparation for that madrega, you can't tell me Nasa and Nishma in Parshat Yisro. Only the Nasa, because we're only roim esikos. We don't hear that koil. The Nishma of Lishma Bekol Devaro, that belongs to the Parsha, the chelik of the aspect of Matan Torah, that's Nizgala in Parshas Mishpatim, the aspect of how when God gave it, He really gave it. Like Varas Nosav Ne'adam, that was the way Matan Torah was, and you could mamish hear the music with Nasa, you could obey it. Osei Dvaro, but also Lishma Bekol Devaro, you can hear the music behind those words. The Maitaima, the Tamei Anigun, Kishulchan Aruch Muchan Lechol, and that's why Nasa ve'Nishma, of how you can not just obey Torah, but hear it, enjoy the music of it, internalize it, belongs to the aspect of Matan Torah, the Parshas Mishpatim.